You are about to lose the place you currently live in because God says this message reaches you in a moment when the winds around your life are shifting and Archangel Michael stands beside you urging that you do not take a single word lightly because what is unfolding around you is not random. He says you are about to feel something in your spirit. A quiet pull, a sudden realization, a whisper from heaven telling you that you are closer to a major turning point than you think. God says you are about to lose the place you currently live in because something bigger, something hidden, something divinely orchestrated is coming into your life. And this message has arrived. So you will not panic. Not fear, not assume disaster, but instead recognize divine redirection disguised as disruption. God says a shift is occurring. And Archangel Michael says he has been trying to deliver this warning to your heart for weeks, maybe even months, but you were too burdened, too tired, too busy carrying the weight of responsibilities that were never yours to carry. God says the place you live in right now is connected to cycles that are no longer meant to be part of your destiny. You have outgrown the energy around you, the memories stored in the walls, the quiet heaviness you have carried while living there. You have stayed strong longer than most people could have. You have survived battles in silence. Cried quietly so no one would hear you, and smiled when your heart was breaking. God says the place you are in has absorbed too much of your pain, too much of the betrayal you witnessed, too much of the emotional weight others placed on you, too much of the exhaustion you tried to hide from everyone. You were not supposed to remain in that environment forever. Heaven says the shift happening now is not punishment. It is a rescue. God says you are not losing a home. You are being moved out of a spiritual cage. You are being lifted away from walls that witnessed your worst days. Away from people who drained you, away from burdens that were not God-given. Archangel Michael says you have been praying for change. Praying for peace, praying for a breakthrough, praying for a miracle. But when heaven decides to deliver a major breakthrough, it often begins by removing you from the place where your blessings would be blocked. The discomfort you feel right now is not a sign that something bad is coming. It is the early tremor of something powerful, something holy, something divinely protected aligning for you. God says you have no idea how much you have been shielded from behind the scenes. There were plans, conversations, and energies around you that heaven refused to allow near your spirit. You cried thinking you were alone, but heaven says you were surrounded by angels the entire time. You thought your prayers were unheard. But they were being answered in ways that required certain pieces of your life to be moved, shifted, rearranged. Archangel Michael says, the move you are about to experience is not random. It is protection. It is redirection, it is preparation for your elevation. God says the place you live in held secrets you never saw. Some people connected to that environment did not want you to rise. There were jealous eyes watching you. There were negative energies targeting your peace. There were words spoken behind your back that heaven overheard even when you never did. God says someone connected to your current environment spoke against your blessing, doubted your future, and quietly questioned why you deserved the things they wanted for themselves. Their words did not destroy you because heaven intercepted them. But those words were enough reason for God to remove you from that energy. Archangel Michael says you must understand something important. When God removes you from a place, it is never because the place wins. It is because the place is no longer worthy of hosting the version of you that God is creating. He says you have grown too much spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and energetically to remain in a place where you are not honored, not valued, not seen fully. God says the shift is happening now because you are ready even if you feel afraid. Heaven says fear is natural, but it does not mean you are unsafe. It means your spirit is waking up. God says the reason you are about to lose the place you live in is because the blessing waiting for you cannot enter your life while you remain there. The miracle cannot fit in that space. The abundance, the new opportunities, the peace, the divine encounters, these things require a new environment. God says the environment you currently live in was meant to be temporary, but you stayed longer because you are loyal, because you are responsible. Because you keep choosing stability even when your soul needs expansion. But heaven says your destiny requires a place where you can breathe, grow, and become who you are meant to be. Archangel Michael says he has seen you hold yourself together through storms that would have broken other people. He says the fact that you survived everything you went through is proof that the next chapter of your life is not ordinary. God says you were never meant for average, never meant for minimal, never meant for a stagnant life. You were always meant for more. And now that more is arriving, your current environment can no longer contain you. God says the environment that once sheltered you is now too small for the divine assignment you carry. Heaven says you have been worrying, overthinking, wondering how you will manage things, how you will handle the changes coming your way. But God says you are not walking into instability. You are walking into a divine setup. The move happening is part of a bigger plan. Every delay, every setback, every moment you felt stuck was heaven positioning you for this moment. God says nothing about this is accidental. You are being moved because your destiny is calling. Archangel Michael says there is a reason your spirit has felt restless. There is a reason you feel like something is shifting, something is changing, something is being rearranged. He says your energy has been preparing for this transition long before you realized it consciously. Heaven has been opening a path for you. God says the people who tried to block your progress cannot stop this. The circumstances that once held you down cannot limit this. The challenges that once intimidated you cannot delay this. God says this is your time. The reason you are losing the place you currently live in is because heaven is upgrading you. God says the next place you step into will bring peace, clarity, and divine favor. You will feel lighter, you will feel safer. You will feel spiritually protected. Heaven says some blessings require you to be in the right environment to fully grow into them. God says you are being planted in new soil. Archangel Michael says you are not being pushed out. You are being lifted up. He says he will walk ahead of you, shield you from every form of harm, clear the path and fight every unseen battle so you do not have to. He says heaven is not warning you to scare you. It is preparing you so you do not panic when the change arrives. God says when the door closes behind you, do not cry. Walk forward. Everything you lost is being replaced with something divinely chosen. God says you will not be homeless. You will not be abandoned. You will not be unprotected. He says you will be guided to the right place at the right time. Supported in ways you cannot imagine and surrounded by divine favor that makes impossible things happen easily. Heaven says your stability is not built on walls or roofs. It is built on God's protection. Archangel Michael says he is strengthening you even now. He says you will look back at this moment and realize it was the beginning of your breakthrough. God says your life is about to open like a sunrise after a long night. Your peace is returning. Your clarity is returning. Your confidence is returning. God says trust Him. He is moving you because He is blessing you. God says this to you right now in this very moment when your heart is trying to understand why everything around you feels heavy, uncertain, or unstable. God says this message is not random, not accidental, and not something you can ignore because Archangel Michael is standing beside you with a powerful urgency in his voice telling you that what is unfolding in your life needs your full attention. He says you are about to lose the place you currently live in because something hidden was happening around you. Something you were not supposed to carry, something that was never meant to fall on your shoulders. But God says, wait, breathe, and listen carefully. Because what you think is a threat is actually a divine rearrangement, a preparation for something far better, far safer, far more aligned with your destiny than you can imagine right now. God knows you have been holding on tightly to your sense of stability, your home, your shelter, your comfort, your familiar surroundings, and every object that makes you feel rooted. But God also knows the energy around your living space has been shifting. He says you felt the signs. You felt sudden heaviness in your chest, sudden emotional waves. Sudden arguments or misunderstandings, a sense that something is not quite right, and moments where your intuition whispered something in the silence. You ignored some of these signals because you didn't want to believe anything could change this drastically. You didn't want more chaos. You didn't want more disappointment, and you didn't want another storm to walk through. But God says the truth is not meant to scare you. The truth is meant to free you. The place you currently live in has become too small for your destiny, too spiritually congested for your growth, too crowded with energies that are not aligned with what God is preparing for you. You may think losing this place would mean instability, fear, uncertainty, or even a step backward. But God says losing it means elevation. Losing it means protection. Losing it means something is being removed so something better can take its place. God says He would never take anything from you unless He is preparing to return something far more powerful, far more beautiful, far more suited to your soul. Archangel Michael says you have been surrounded by energies that have been quietly draining you. He says there were people connected to your living space, whether physically or spiritually, who were projecting their worries, judgments, jealousy, or heaviness toward you. Their energy began to settle in your environment like invisible dust, creating weight on your shoulders, cloudiness in your thoughts, or confusion in your spirit. Michael says this is why some days you felt exhausted for no reason. Some days, you felt uneasy without explanation, and some days you felt emotionally fragile even when nothing specific happened. The energy around you was shifting because God needed you to notice what was no longer aligned. You are about to lose the place you currently live in because God is removing you from a spiritual battlefield you didn't even realize you were standing in. He is pulling you away from old patterns, old energies, old limitations, old expectations, and old weights that you should not carry anymore. He is releasing you from environments where people underestimated you. Environments where people spoke negatively about you. Environments where people didn't appreciate your presence, or environments where people benefited from your kindness but never honored your heart. God says He cannot let you stay in a place where your spirit is shrinking while your destiny is expanding. You may feel overwhelmed hearing this. You may wonder how everything will unfold or whether you will be safe. God says you are safe. God says nothing will go wrong with you. God says He is already handling the details behind the scenes. He is moving people, shifting situations, opening doors, closing doors, guiding resources, arranging timing, and preparing protection in ways you cannot yet see. He says you do not need to panic. You only need to trust. When God prepares to elevate you, He allows discomfort so you don't cling to the familiar. He allows a push so you don't stay where you no longer belong. He allows something to shake so you can move into alignment. God says this is not a loss. This is a transfer. This is not punishment. This is preparation. This is not abandonment. This is a rescue. There were things planned behind your back, conversations spoken quietly, intentions hidden from your awareness, energies that did not wish well for you, and spirits that were uncomfortable with your light. God says someone connected to your environment could not stand the glow on your life. Someone resented the blessings you carry. Someone felt threatened by the purity of your heart. But heaven says this cannot touch you anymore. This cannot remain around you. This cannot stay in your energetic space. So heaven is removing you not to harm you but to protect you. Archangel Michael says the urgency is not in losing your home. The urgency is in making sure you understand the spiritual meaning behind what's happening. He says if you cling to what God is trying to remove, you risk missing the miracle God is unfolding for you. He says you must not fear. The transition may feel sudden, but the result will feel divine. The shift may feel unexpected, but the outcome will feel miraculous. God says He has seen the nights when you sat alone with your thoughts questioning your future. He has watched the silent tears you didn't allow anyone to see. He has felt your exhaustion, your prayers, your quiet hopes, your unspoken fears. He knows you just want stability, love, peace, clarity, and a sense of belonging. God says He is giving you all of that, but not in your current environment. Something better is waiting for you, something safer is waiting. Something more spiritually aligned is waiting. God says you will not be homeless. You will not be abandoned. You will not be left in confusion. You will not be left in the dark. What looks like a loss is actually a blessing in disguise. What feels like an ending is actually a new beginning. What seems like instability is actually divine relocation. In the realm of heaven, things are moving quickly. God says the spiritual schedule has accelerated. Your prayers reached Him faster than you realized, and the answers are coming quicker than you expect. He says, the discomfort you feel is a sign that something big is about to unfold. Breakthroughs often come disguised as disruptions. Blessings are often hidden behind sudden changes. Miracles often begin with something unexpected being removed. Archangel Michael says, your home, your physical space, your room, your environment is a reflection of your spiritual energy. When your spirit outgrows a place, the place begins to feel tight. When your destiny expands, your environment feels small. When God prepares you for a new season, He shakes what no longer fits. There is something you cannot see yet. A door has already opened for you in the spiritual realm. A new place, a safer environment, a peaceful space, a home where you will feel protected, appreciated, and spiritually uplifted. God says this place will feel different the moment you step inside. The air will feel lighter. Your heart will feel calmer. Your sleep will feel deeper. Your intuition will feel clearer. Your energy will feel lifted. God is preparing a place that matches your divine calling. Heaven says the reason you must leave your current environment is because the next chapter requires more space for blessings. There is a miracle coming your way that cannot fit in the old place. There is a financial blessing that needs a stable environment. There is a relationship blessing that needs a peaceful home. There is a spiritual awakening that needs a purified space. God says someone tried to limit you energetically. Someone tried to block your progress. Someone tried to interfere with your peace. Someone in your environment was not honest in their intentions. But heaven says their influence ends now. God is removing you so their energy cannot touch you again. You may have noticed strange delays. Sudden blockages, unexpected setbacks, or confusion in recent days. These were spiritual signs that your energy was no longer aligned with your environment. But God says He will reverse every delay, remove every blockage, dissolve every confusion, and replace every setback with divine acceleration. God says that losing this place means gaining His promise. Losing this place means gaining His protection. Losing this place means gaining His miracle. You may wonder how everything will unfold. God says don't worry. He is already preparing the path. The right person, the the right opportunity, the right place, the right time. Everything is falling into alignment. He says you don't need to understand the entire plan. You just need to trust the next step. Archangel Michael says he will walk with you through this transition. He will guide your intuition. He will protect your spirit. He will strengthen your heart. He will keep you safe as you move forward. He says do not fear. He says you are guided. He says you are protected. God says there is nothing to lose, only something to gain. You may be leaving a place, but you are entering a destiny. You may be releasing something familiar, but you are receiving something divine. You may be stepping into the unknown, but you are stepping into God's plan. God says this change is not a punishment. It is a gift. It is the answer to your prayers, even if it comes in an unexpected form. He says you have prayed for peace, for blessings, for a breakthrough, for clarity, for stability, for a fresh start. This is the beginning of all those answers unfolding at once. Heaven is rearranging your life for your good. God says you may feel like something is being taken from you, but heaven says it is being replaced with something far better. God wants you to know that He sees your heart. He sees your sincerity. He sees your effort. He sees your kindness. He sees your intentions. He sees everything you've endured quietly. And He says your new place, your new environment, your new chapter will reflect the love He has for you. You will not be alone during this transition. You will not be unsafe. You will not be unprotected. God and Archangel Michael are surrounding you with divine light and clarity. God says, prepare your heart. Something is shifting. Something is moving. Something is opening. Something is being released. Something beautiful is coming your way. Trust Him. You are safe. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong with you. God is handling everything in ways you cannot yet see but will soon understand. God says this to you now with a depth that shakes the unseen realms, with the kind of intensity that heaven releases only when the timing is extremely important. God says He has watched you carry so much in silence, and He has watched the weight gather around your heart like clouds gathering before a storm. Heaven has not abandoned you. Heaven is not ignoring you. Archangel Michael stands near you right now, delivering this message with an urgency that comes only when something in your life is shifting in a way you must not overlook. God says He sees something happening around you, something you have sensed in your spirit again and again, something you brushed aside thinking it was just stress or imagination, but it was not your imagination. It was your spirit trying to warn you gently before the warning became urgent. And today the message arrives urgently because the moment has come where you must not ignore what heaven is showing you anymore. God says you are about to lose the place you currently live in. Not because something is trying to destroy you. Not because you are unsafe, not because evil has won, but because heaven is shifting you toward a new season that requires you to move from where you are, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. The place you are about to lose is not just a home, a room, or a physical location. It is an environment, an energy, a phase of life, a mindset, an emotional space that has become too small for who you are becoming. You have outgrown your surroundings without even realizing it. Mentally, you already packed your bags long ago. Spiritually, you already stepped into the doorway of your next chapter. But physically you remained in the same place because you were trying to stay loyal, stay consistent, stay stable, stay responsible. But God says the very place you tried to protect has started draining you, exhausting you, and limiting you because it is no longer aligned with where He is taking you. Archangel Michael says this is very urgent because the shift that is coming for you cannot happen while you stay in the same emotional place, the same spiritual space, the same internal room where you once felt comfort but now feel heaviness. You are not being removed. You are being released. You are not being pushed out. You are being lifted out. This message is not to scare you. God is not warning you of disaster. God is preparing you for promotion disguised as loss. The place you live in physically or emotionally has served its purpose. But its season has expired. Heaven is moving you because the new blessings, the new opportunities, the new peace, the new financial flow, the new relationships, the new spiritual awakening coming to you cannot fit inside the walls where you currently stand. God says there is something you have been praying for quietly, secretly without even telling anyone. Sometimes you whispered it. Sometimes you cried it. Sometimes you only thought it without daring to say it aloud. You asked for peace. You asked for protection. You asked for better days. You asked for clarity. You asked for breakthrough. You asked for change. But you did not realize that change often looks like losing something familiar. Heaven is not punishing you. Heaven is answering you. The emotional place you currently live in, fear, worry, old trauma, old memories, old patterns, toxic expectations from people around you cannot come with you into the next version of your life. You are about to lose the place that kept you stuck. The place that held you in cycles, the place that made you doubt yourself. The place that made you shrink to make others comfortable. God says the urgency is this. You must not resist what He is removing from your path. You must not hold on to what He is gently taking out of your hands. You must not fear the shift. You must not panic when something familiar begins to dissolve. You must not think you did something wrong. You must not think God is angry with you. He is not taking something away from you. He is taking you away from something that no longer aligns with the purpose placed inside you. Archangel Michael stands guard around you, not because danger is near, but because transition is near, and transitions often feel heavy, confusing, emotional, and overwhelming. Michael says he has been watching you trying to hold everything together alone. And heaven knows you are tired. Heaven knows you need help. Heaven knows you need comfort. Heaven knows you have been trying to survive storms that were never meant to break you, but were meant to push you into strength you did not know you had. He says you survived so many silent battles that the place you are living in spiritually became too crowded with memories that hurt you. The shift you are about to experience is God clearing the old energy, clearing the old pain, clearing the old disappointments so you can breathe again. God says the place you are about to lose is not your stability. It is your stagnation. What feels like loss is actually liberation. What feels like being uprooted is actually being replanted. What feels like being pushed out is actually being pulled upward. God has watched people misunderstand you again and again. He has seen how often you gave love in places where love was not returned. He saw how deeply you cared for people who did not notice your pain. He saw how you stood by people who disappeared when you needed them. He saw how much effort you put into relationships that never gave you the same energy back. And slowly, without realizing it, you started living emotionally in a place where you felt unappreciated, unnoticed, unsupported. Heaven calls that place a false home. A place where you stayed because your heart is kind, but not because the environment was aligned with your destiny. You are losing that emotional home because God is bringing you into a season where your worth will be seen clearly. God says He is removing you from the place where you were tolerated and leading you to the place where you will be valued. You are losing the place of being misunderstood because you are stepping into a season of being recognized. You are losing the place of being overlooked because heaven is pushing you forward into a season where people will appreciate you, respect you, and honor what you carry inside you. Archangel Michael says this is urgent because you must not cling to places God is releasing you from. You must not go back to patterns He is breaking. You must not reopen emotional doors He is closing. When something begins to shift in the coming days, when people change, when relationships shift, when sudden decisions arise, when you feel the nudge to detach, when your spirit whispers that something is different, you must trust that heaven is guiding it. You must trust that God is not letting anything fall apart. He is letting everything fall into place. God says He is not removing your safety. He is establishing it. You are safe. You are loved. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong with you. Your life is not falling apart. It is falling into divine order. The place you currently live in physically, spiritually, emotionally has become too small for the magnitude of the blessings coming your way. God is moving you because you prayed for something better, something brighter, something more aligned with your soul, and this movement is the answer. You may feel fear because change always carries uncertainty. But God says you must replace that fear with faith. He promises that everything that shifts now is shifting in your favor. Anything that leaves is clearing the path. Anything that changes is opening the door. Anything that ends is making way for something beginning. Anything that feels like loss is preparing the foundation for something greater than you imagined. God says you have been asking Him to take you to the next chapter and He heard you every time. But before He writes the next chapter, He must close the old one. That is why Michael says this message is urgent. You must not fight the closing of the old chapter. You must not reopen old wounds. You must not hold yourself back because of guilt, fear, or attachment. You must trust that heaven sees the full picture even when you see only the pieces. God says He is not just moving you away from something. He is moving you toward something. Toward peace, toward abundance, toward clarity, toward genuine love, toward emotional healing, toward stability, toward spiritual elevation. You are not losing a home. You are stepping into a higher home. You are not losing stability. You are gaining destiny. You are not losing comfort. You are gaining purpose. Archangel Michael says the place you currently live in spiritually has walls built from old pain, old memories, old disappointments. These walls protected you once, but now they confine you. This transition is heaven breaking those walls so your soul can breathe again. You deserve space. You deserve peace. You deserve growth. You deserve a future where you are no longer held back by what was. God says you will not fall. You will not break. You will not be abandoned. You will not be harmed. Every movement that happens now is orchestrated by heaven's careful hands. God says He walks ahead of you, clearing the path. Michael walks beside you, protecting your steps. Your angels walk behind you, ensuring nothing from the past can follow into your future. You are safe. You are protected. You are guided. You are carried. God says, trust Him now more than ever. What looks like loss is divine protection. What looks like instability is divine realignment. What looks like shifting ground is heaven building a new foundation for you. Stronger, safer, more blessed than anything you have known before. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The place you are losing was never meant to be permanent. It was temporary shelter while heaven constructed your true blessing. And your blessing is closer than you think. God says hold on to faith because what is coming will heal everything that hurt you. What is coming will restore what you thought you lost forever. What is coming will make you understand why every shift was necessary. You will not go wrong. You will not be harmed. You will not be abandoned. You are safe. God is with you. Archangel Michael is with you. Heaven is with you. And nothing, absolutely nothing will go wrong with you. As long as you trust God, and remain in prayer, God says this is an urgent message meant only for your spirit at this moment because heaven sees something you cannot see with your physical eyes. And Archangel Michael has been instructed to speak to you directly. God says you are about to lose the place you currently live in because forces around you, some seen, some unseen, some pretending to care, some pretending to be silent, have been moving behind your back, trying to destabilize you, confuse you, weaken you, and make you believe that you are alone. But heaven says you are not alone. Not for a single second. Not even in the moments when you felt your heart tremble or your mind become uncertain. Archangel Michael says this message is extremely urgent because decisions are being made in the unseen realm. Conversations are being held spiritually about your destiny, and someone around you has been hoping, silently waiting, even praying that you become displaced, discouraged, and distracted so that you don't step into the breakthrough God has prepared for you. But the truth is, heaven did not ignore this. Heaven saw everything. Heaven tracked every word, every intention, every whisper spoken where you were not present, every plan designed to shift you out of your foundation. Every move designed to make you feel unsafe or uncertain in the place you call home. God says you have felt it in your chest recently. That strange inner shaking, the sudden thoughts that came without warning, the sense that something was shifting in your environment. You didn't know why your spirit felt alert. You didn't understand why you kept waking up suddenly or feeling pressure around you. God says it was your spirit picking up the vibrations of a spiritual conversation happening around your life. It was the subtle movement of a storm trying to form around you. But the storm has not been allowed to touch you. God says the reason you are about to lose the place you live in is not because something bad will happen to you. Not because God is punishing you, not because you did something wrong. No, God says the truth is the place you are living in is no longer aligned with the destiny He is preparing for you. You cannot remain where you are. Because if you stay where you are, you will remain surrounded by energies that are secretly working to stop your progress. You will remain in a place that has already served its purpose. God says this shift is divine protection, not divine punishment. But heaven wants you to know the truth behind what has been happening so that you do not panic. So that you do not fear, so that you do not fall into anxiety when this earthly shift happens. Archangel Michael says, someone has been acting strangely around you. Someone whose words have not matched their true intentions. Someone has been waiting for you to fail. Someone has been hoping that your living situation becomes unstable so they can feel superior. So they can feel justified. So they can feel that their predictions about you were right. Someone around you has been carrying an energy of envy, resentment, and silent competition. They did not expect heaven to intervene. They thought their plan or their wish would unfold without resistance. But Archangel Michael says heaven saw everything and stepped in immediately. God says the coming shift is not a threat. It is a sign. A sign that your time in this place is complete. A sign that new ground has already been prepared for you. A sign that the place you live in now cannot support the blessings that are coming for you. God says there are certain blessings that cannot be released until you leave this environment. There are certain miracles that cannot flow in a place where your spirit is being silently attacked. And heaven has held back certain parts of your blessing because the environment you are in is not spiritually clean, stable, or aligned enough to hold what God is about to give you. God says you have outgrown this place spiritually, emotionally, energetically, and prophetically. You have outgrown it. And when a chosen one outgrows a place, the environment begins to feel tight, heavy, uncomfortable.